animal. And they were roommates.
God, they were roommates.
Let's just talk about it.
All right.
What's up, everybody? This is the top of everything. This is episode number 5, which was supposed to be top 5 desert island albums. I'm Charlie C. This is my co-host, Big Tone. We're a little discombobulated.
Yes.
Some shit went on. So yesterday. We recorded our episode top 10 urban legends, and frankly, I was really unsure about the whole thing. It got really freaky. We both got the heebie-jeebies while we were doing it, just talking about this stuff. But there's some shit, dude. There's some Tony doesn't know yet. I'm gonna send him a video.
Yeah, I haven't.
You
watched
don't know
anything.
everything. Here's the thing. So first of all, we record the episode when we were done. I went to Riverside. Riverside's amazing. Like, we use Riverside FM for it. I think it's Riverside FM for our podcast. We were just talking about it. The sounds are great. It cleans stuff up. It's really user friendly. It's like having a studio in your house. We don't even have, really good technical equipment. I just bought a mic, but the first few I did just off the computer mic. And it's professional quality. When I downloaded this episode and we got into, we talked about the occult, we talked about spirit world, we talked about Ouija boards, we talked about Bloody Mary, we talked about the
Afterlife.
What's that?
Afterlife.
The afterlife. We talked about the thin guy, Slender Man.
Slender Man.
Which my daughters, I was talking about with them last night when I was real freaked out. They're like, don't say his name either. They don't like saying his name. So
what?
You got to be all these things. You can conjure up something. I didn't really even know I knew a lot about the Ouija board. That's where like a lot of this stuff, just like in real life, the real stories we told, a lot of the shit that happened around a Ouija board scene. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But there's this demon Zoso, evidently, that's associated with Ouija board. I didn't really know about that, but same deal. Like, supposedly you could open yourself up to him. And there's all kinds of videos, but we were kind of out of the loop of this stuff. The stuff you talk about when you're kids, and we just did it. We're doing our podcast, and now we got roped back in. So we had all these audio problems. None of your audio came through. None of it. So I had to triple Lindy. I even was back and forth with Riverside.
That's
couldn't
crazy.
hear any of your audio. We got it fixed. They have this AI program that will go and pull all this stuff out. It's pretty cool. Maybe somebody could chime in. Is there something where this spirit world will interfere with electronics or
100%? 100%. Like, all those shows I watch, all of them say, for people who don't know what the different devices are, they say that they're all they have to do with electricity, and they measure the different frequencies, and apparently spirits can interact with that, and a light will go on if a spirit is nearby. But one of the things they always talk about is, like, when they say, hey, this red light went on, meaning a spirit touched the box, and the first thing they'll say is like, there's no electricity in this house, there's no lights, there's no any, so that they make sure that the viewer knows that there's electricity can impact.
They can. I mean, it makes sense, right? They're in the air. They're
right.
So how do they? It makes total sense. I just at first was assuming I'm just having problems, computer problems, and then I started going, wait a minute, is this related? And then, so here's the thing, and while we were recording, you had your background on blur, and I think there's an explanation behind it. So maybe you can help with this explanation. And again, my daughters were playing detective last night, and they actually came up with that explanation. But even if their explanation is right, it's nothing compared to what happened when I was editing.
Oh boy.
But even if their explanation is right, because I don't want to be like, oh, we're fucking, this is bullshit. We're trying to trick people. We're
Right.
just recording the episode. Matter of fact, we were about to go on to like the next topic. And then I said, oh, wait, I want to tell you this side story about from the Twilight Zone where the guy does, the thumbs up.
Right.
And then right after we were talking about it, we talked about departed souls or something like that. Right when those words were said, what I saw, because your background was blurred, not like now, I saw something and I knew there was a pastor there. I saw something peek in. I assumed it was Lisa or maybe one of your kids or, whatever.
Right.
Somebody peeked. It looked like somebody peeked into me. I'm watching you, so it's kind of out of peripheral vision. And then they were gone. And I
Right.
thought I saw them twice, but in the playback, it was just once. Like I felt like I saw something first and then I saw the full peek in. But so before I get to what the explanation could be,
Okay.
I think it's cool if people see like what, like you were showing me yesterday. It's not. My girls also thought it was a TV screen. They go, "Oh, that's just a reflection of the TV screen." I go, "No, that's a hole to another room."
Right.
So,
Well, the other piece of it is like, although this is our fifth episode, right? Or I guess this would be sixth. I don't know. We haven't had any problems.
no.
There's been nothing, and we're new to the whole
Other than that,
Riverside.
Like we were terrible.
Right. No,
I'm trying to edit the badness out. But
right. No, there wasn't any, issue with the software. So
you want to hear the explanation, or
yeah, I haven't heard anything.
I kind of think they might be right, but even if they are, again, it doesn't explain why it happened, when it happened, and why it appeared there. But maybe there's something. So do you have something on your screen or your phone or something where if you do a thumbs up will pop up on the screen? Do you have anything like that?
You mean like it mimics what I'm doing?
Yeah. So they're like, oh, because it looks like a thumbs up. So either the ghost gave us an election. If you look at it, and not only that, it's the way a thumbs up pops up on a computer, like it goes.
Okay.
So it almost like the way you did it, it kind of mimics you. You went, and the thing went. It looks like a thumb.
Well,
it's just blurred.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, that's from his computer. I'm like, I don't think your computer has anything like that, but it's
not that I know of.
But even if it does, how come it appeared? It's like a reflection. It's blurred. Why was it behind you? I still can't put it two and two together.
Right.
And the timing was really weird. So even if some kind of electronic thing happened, I still feel like, we've recorded, 20 hours of stuff. Like we haven't had anything like that. And I don't know that it's ever going to happen again. Do it now.
Right.
Let's do a thumbs up. Do a thumbs up. Let's see if it pops up. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Okay, that was look. It's like I want to be devil's advocate. I don't want people to think we're,
But I see. I didn't see. I did see something, but what you're actually saying that it's a thumb?
It's blurry, but they saw that, and then I go, when they said it, you can see it. When you said it, you kind of go, I can see how that because you're doing a thumbs up, and then all of a sudden there's kind of this thing that looks like a blurred thumbs up, and it also mimicked your. So they said, "Oh, he's got some kind of software that mimics him," and I'm like,
absolutely not.
I said, I don't think so because I know
No.
we're both on our computers can barely handle Riverside, right?
I don't have
it's-
any. I mean, I
So,
don't have anything.
yeah,
I mean,
it's-
look, I'm doing it now, and it's not.
I think maybe it's a ghost with a sense of humor. Like they gave us a thumbs up.
That's because
That's fucked up.
When
That
I-
might
when
even
I-
be more fucked up.
when I looked back at it, I was like, remember, I was like, what was
Yeah.
that? Because it looked like a flash, like if I put a flashlight onto the screen of a TV that was off. That's what
That's what they thought at first. They go, "Oh,
yeah,
it's a
like
light on his
I'm like,
TV."
oh, it's a light on this TV. Yeah. And it was big. It wasn't just like an orb. You
It
know how
was
they
big.
talk about the orbs? I was telling Lisa this. I'm like, when you see an orb on Ghost Adventures or whatever, they always say, "Oh, it's debunked because it's a piece of fuzz, it's a piece of dust or something." It was an absolute, like, you see this hi-hat light over here? I
Yeah,
mean, it felt like it was that bright.
it was bright.
I mean, it was like,
Have you seen the? You haven't seen the video really yet?
no.
Okay, check it out. I mean, I posted some shorts this morning on YouTube and on TikTok, and
I wanted to be surprised for this episode because I want this to be like, yeah, raw.
it's out, dude. So I'm glad. I'm kind of glad because I was like, oh, if that's what it was, I'd be kind of disappointed. Away, like not because we're gonna go viral, because man, I felt like something really happened and it was weird and where we were going. But dude, it's nothing. So I'm a mess right now. Like I'm freaking tired. I was up editing this thing last night. All these problems, promise you, I wanted to get it out before the weekend.
Right.
So it's 1:30 in the morning. Believe it or not, two of my girls were up because they were watching the new episode of the cannibal show I was telling you about was out,
my
Yellow
God.
Jacket. So they were up watching that. And I was like, I was editing the scene, the Ouija board scene.
Oh God.
Dude, I got chills. Dude, this is really freaky. So, first of all, talking about the audio again, my audio was perfect. The only time my audio is blanked out and I couldn't recover it is when I was saying the phone was ringing, 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 ringing,
Oh my
ringing.
God.
If this ringing, ringing, ringing is the phone just started ringing, it almost sounds like I didn't say it. I just always say, oh, the phone, phone. And so people probably like, what the hell happened there? So that was deleted.
The audio.
The audio is deleted from my voice for that part, but that's nothing. I'm going to send you right now. You have your phone?
I do.
I'm going to send you.
Do you want to share
I
it?
recorded.
Probably...
I was editing that scene. I'm not even going to tell you. If I told you, you'd be freaked out. I want you. It's like this is a 30-second video of me. I actually took my phone and recorded my editing.
Okay.
Look at your phone now. Watch it while I'm here.
While we're here, okay.
And it's 30 seconds, so bear with us. But believe me, I'm going to be quiet so you can listen to it. Tell me when you start.
I didn't get it yet. Did you text me?
I think I did, but you know what? Yeah, I just sent you the video. It might take a second, I guess, because it's a 30-second video. But
here it is. Here it is. So, just so that everybody's clear, all right. First of all, I got a thought. I'm hearing myself double now. I got a thought when you were talking before. Even if I knew that like there was this software or something that mimicked I'm not a good enough actor to do. Now that I think about it, I'm like, because I was like, what the hell was that? I didn't.
You were freaked out. Man.
I didn't go like, oh, you know what I know what that is. All right, no, like debunked. So
I thought you were gonna say today, oh yeah, I got that on my phone. I would be like, shit. Just because it's so much scary. It's such a better story if there is no explanation. And it might not be a thumb, it just might resemble a thumb. I'm almost thinking that it's like it was a spirit with a sense of humor. It mimicked what you did. I mean,
that's fucked up, though.
Is there a thing out there that does this? It did exactly just like you and the hitchhiker did in Twilight Zone. He goes, going my way, going my way, and then all of a sudden, this thumb did the same thing in the background.
That's fucked up. All right, so I got your text.
Okay, listen to it.
But I'm not. All right, so I got to listen. I mean,
I can just tell you what's on there if you want.
No, I want to react to it. So here we go.
Dude, are you home alone? I'm so freaked out right now. Editing the video for Urban Legends, doing the part about the Ouija board in the basement, talking about the scene in The Exorcist.
there's a priest getting thrown out the window and shit, and it's like, it's the first movie of all time. Like a lot of these.
What was that?
Play it again.
There's a priest getting thrown out the window and shit, and it's like, it's the first movie of all.
Holy
laughed.
shit.
The priest gets thrown through the window.
Bro, I have got goosebumps. Holy shit.
Dude, I was freaked out. I think my daughters were up. I was freaking out, man. I barely slept.
I got to hear that again.
And dude, it laughs at the priest getting thrown out the window.
So he's listening. So Charlie's
For urban legends doing the part about the Ouija board in the basement, talking about the scene in The Exorcist. There's a priest getting thrown out the window and shit, and it's like, it's the first movie of all time.
come on.
Dude, I can't explain it. It's fucked up. And we didn't hear it. We didn't hear anything when we were recording it. That was on there, dude.
Dude, okay. So I'm a big into this Ghost Adventures thing. What they use is a digital recorder like we used to get at Radio Shack with the little cassette. And whenever they're in a place, they use the digital recorder and they do the exact same thing you did. We just have a conversation and then they go back and listen to it. And then there's like unexplained. Bro, I got goosebumps right now.
I've seen the show where I don't watch that like you do, but I've seen the show where they ask it questions and it answers. Like that's fucking crazy too.
But that's okay. So let's just talk about that for a minute.
We might have to do a show.
This is really bizarre because when I was going to bed, so I got to share this with the audience. I already told you, but I went to bed and I'm thinking about all this stuff. And this is before Charlie did any, there's a thumb or whatever mimicking me. Like we didn't know what it was. There was some light. There was something interrupted the flow, right? Like I actually turned around.
I thought it was a person.
Right. And then I went to bed and I was talking about it with everybody, right? And trying to explain it and couldn't. I didn't tell you this other thing, Charlie, when you and I were on the phone. There was a red cardinal on the deck the whole time you and I were on the phone. And I'm a big believer that like they say that people who pass come by as red cardinals or cardinals. I always think it's my dad, right? But the cardinal was there, and I get it. It's a little warmer, springtime. It could be any reason, but I like to believe in the what if, right? So I went to bed, still thinking about it, and I was restless. So Lisa's like, "You're moving around. Why don't we just go in the other room, whatever?" I'm like, "Whatever. Yeah, I can't really sleep anyway." And I started thinking about what just fucking happened, which is I wonder if anything is going to come across on the audio file that we didn't hear. I swear to God. Really? And because I watch those shows and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe there's going to be something on the audio that we have no idea.
Dude.
There's got to be.
I just that one, I edited that thing. I edited an hour thing. I edited all kinds of video and stuff to make it more interesting. I do it. It's not like an edit that I would turn in. We love our audience, but like I would put, it deserves more time, but I just wanted to get it out and I'm trying to do this stuff fast paced. And, we got lives and stuff. So I was just banging that thing out. Like I'm going to go back. I'll go back and listen to the original tracks because you put this stuff. The other thing too is like, I'm going to listen to the original. There's the original raw audio. And then there's what Riverside has is this AI that will clean up the audio. So you can just clean up. So I always run it through the AI first just to get all the bullshit sound out.
Right.
And it just makes everything sound better. Like we sound like crap because we have crappy equipment. So I just run everything through the AI. I'm going to go back and listen to the raw. I think I'm a little afraid, but I guess I'm gonna do it.
You have to.
No,
You
and dude,
I mean, it's an hour and a half, but it's you
I'm
got
I'm
you got to
good.
like make notes where,
Thing
and
is,
I'll if you want to split it, we could do
I'll
it.
just
We
send
could
it to
do
you.
it. But the other thing, just so for the audience, on the, when I was restless and I was thinking about maybe we captured something, I woke up 2 different times, distinct, like with absolute. I could guarantee there were 2 aromas. One was a strong smell of cigarettes.
That's so
Woke me up, like, and I actually looked in the room, like, not thinking
Who
of
the
where I
fuck's
was because I
smoking?
was in a different room. I'm like, okay, obviously no one's smoking, so let me try and go back to sleep. And then the next time I woke up, and this is like, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning, was this really, really pungent aroma of perfume I've never smelled before. Like we've got air fresheners and stuff, and obviously there's every house has a different smell. This was so like strong, and I wasn't dreaming anything. I didn't have any of that. And
so weird.
this whole thing has just been ruminating in my head, and I keep getting like chills just thinking about.
We got to get back to running backs. This is not healthy. So, dude, so I had a couple things too. So, 2 things happened this morning. We got up. My wife does the alarm. She sets the alarm. I don't set the alarm. On my phone, I like to play. I play like background music, like not background music, like waves or rain or something. She sets the alarms. She woke up this morning. Again, this is so freaky. All of her alarms were turned off except for one. The one that was on, which is too late for us. We get up at either like 5:30, the both of us.
Wow.
Like I'll sleep in till 6 sometimes, but we try to get up together at 5 sometimes, work out or whatever. 6 o'clock, she looked at it, she goes, "Oh my God, it's 6 o'clock. My alarms didn't go off." She
Ugh.
looked, she goes, "All of my alarms are off except for one." She has an alarm at 7:17 because she sets alarms like for her class. She's a teacher and like all the different things they're doing.
Right.
But 7:17 is significant to her because someone very close to us, her cousin Kelly, was a beautiful soul, very religious girl. That's her birthday.
Wow.
And she passed like post COVID, she's our age. And like we see signs from Kelly all the time. Like I'm not a big sign person. I'm not like thinking the way we're talking about this now. I don't do this in my daily life really. I kind of avoid it honestly because it does freak me out. But that again, I feel like it's almost like when you open yourself up to, you can shut yourself out to this stuff, or you can open yourself up to it. When you
Right.
open yourself up to it, I think like a little bit like we did when we held the podcast, all of a
Right.
sudden it's like the floodgates open up a little bit to this other side that's there that we just don't know how to interact with because we're stupid humans, whatever. We
Right.
just haven't
Right.
figured it out yet. And so and then, dude, so I'm laying there. I'm like, God, it's 6 o'clock already. My dog comes and lays down at the side of my bed because I walk him first thing in the morning. So he comes over there and I started patting
Oh
him.
no.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute.
It's the
Is
hand
that
licker.
really my dog? And I looked and it was him. So, but
made you look.
the licked hand came
The
into
licked
my head.
hand, man.
So
The
I
licked
was
hand.
freaked out, man. But that
Bro.
that laugh, I put that on a couple of websites this morning, like just in the last hour. So we'll see what people think of that. But
So I did. I listened to the audio and put it on the mic, but can you actually see? It looks like there's a the waves, the waveform.
oh,
Can you
that
actually see where the laugh is?
is probably something I can do. I'll have to
No.
go
I
into
mean,
my
on
editing
the
software and look.
I mean, on the actual. Let's see if I could show this on camera. Like on the actual waveform, I wonder if you can see like when he laughs, like how it spikes.
Yeah, I'm
Where
sure you can do that. I'll have to
Because
do some work.
there's going to be people that are like, oh, they added that in or something, and it's not something that you can actually
Yeah, I
mix
mean,
in.
people want to think that, man. I don't really care, but
I don't mean either, right?
the plausible explanation there too is like you kind of laughed at what I said, but you can even see that it doesn't sync with it. And even if you did, like, why does it sound like Satan's laughing? Like,
Yeah.
that's if I was going to like cast somebody and said, okay, give me a Satan laugh, that would be the laugh.
Yeah, but my audio's lost, so I wasn't even on there
Oh, on that one, I'm not sure if you were on that one or not.
because it's on your audio file.
Yeah, no, that might be a combined audio file at that point.
Oh,
But
okay.
still, like, yeah, because that was the audio file that I was using that I got fixed. That was the AI one. The AI kind of pulled you out, extracted you.
Uh-huh.
But the original, your audio wasn't on it.
I was
So freaky too.
I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh like that. I
But
didn't
man,
laugh because that movie freaks me out. I wouldn't laugh.
no, you just kind of laughed at my joke. I made a joke about like throwing priests out, but you didn't really
Oh,
laugh. You just,
yeah.
it looks like, but you could see it's not in sync. You kind of went, and then you hear, and I mean, dude, I literally like got up and was like, oh my God. And my girls who were like the ones who were saying, oh, it's just a thumbs up, Dad. You know, it's just a thumbs up. He's got some technology that you don't understand. I'm like, okay, come here, girls. I was like, explain this one. And they both were like,
Oh my God.
what the hell is that? They were like, they were freaked out. So on my life, I did not tamper with it, but
Right.
people can draw their own conclusions.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm enjoying that this is happening. We're not doing this for monetary reasons or because we got nothing better to do. This is actually kind of cool. It's a little spooky. It's a lot spooky, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean,
And all the things that have happened since then, which isn't earth shattering, but you open your mind to it, and the cardinal with me, and the waking up to different smells, and then the laugh in the audio file. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and guarantee that there's something else in there in the raw file.
you're probably right.
Gotta be.
I don't know that I want to hear it. But dude, man, so yeah, I'm glad we got that stuff out. By the way, I recorded my first episode of we're going to have this Always Many Incidents podcast where we can discuss, and I recorded the first episode this morning, which is basically just an audio file of chapters from the book for now, but it aligns so well with this, especially now that we've kind of gone into this stuff. And so for episode 2, if it's cool, I'd love to have you come on and talk about your experience at Amityville.
Yes, definitely.
I was completely freaked out, like talking about. It's weird doing it by yourself too. It's just the vibe is so different.
It's different.
I feel like I just felt like I was quietly recording.
Why don't you set everybody up and talk about or tell everybody what you're talking about?
Yeah, so I have this book coming out, Always Many Incidents, collection of short stories, mostly based in true. There's one or two that are completely fictional. Well, possibly could be true, but they're fictional, or they were based on something that happened to me, but I fictionalize it to make it a little bit more interesting. But a lot of it's just true, or as it was told to me. So it's a book coming out. I got it coming out April 1st. I started a podcast called Always Many Incidents, and the first podcast / one of the chapters in the books is called Always Many Incidents That You Virtually Inevitably Learned of Lasting Evil, which was an event that me and Big Tone, experienced together as pledges in a fraternity. It was called the Brick Hunt. And it was it was probably, in some ways the most fun night of pledging. Like, you kind of look forward to it. And you go and find bricks hidden all over Long Island. And I was like, the last brick was hidden in Always Many Incidents, spelled out Amityville. The last brick was hidden in Amityville. I was kind of relieved because I was thinking, I heard the last brick was going to be impossible. So I was thinking it was going to be like Philly or DC or something. Like, one of my brothers would take a train there, or was going home for the weekend the week before, and would hide it. And I was like, it was 1:00 in the morning. I'm like, man, we're about to drive to Philly right now, aren't we? And instead it was at Amityville. I was kind of fired up, but we had some events happen to us. We'll talk about it on the podcast. I'm looking forward to, just talking about, like, and I think it's really cool how stories, are your memory and my memory. And frankly, like, I don't know if you read it yet, but I put Fazio in there. I put Dunny in there because they're buddies, and also they had cool pledge names. So it was like but they weren't in our pledge class, if it was just our pledge class, it was just like the pledge names just kind of weren't working for me. So that's like just taking artistic license. But the events that happened in that story, probably more than any, are exactly how I remember it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
And then,
definitely wanna...
so I think if you're cool with it, even though we've like got the heebie-jeebies, and I think we could have just do this like rapid fire. This actually is good for us because the algo, and not to bore people with this stuff, but the algo is really confused. We kind of came out kicking ass. We did a music one. People were loving it. We did a movie one. That was still doing well. We went to running backs. The algo is completely confused what we are. So now we're doing this new thing. We're talking about spooky stuff, you and me right now. But the episode that we're supposed to be recording today is top 5 desert island albums, which is, unlike top 10 guitarists, is completely your own. Even top 10 guitarists is your own thing. But this is, I'm going to be on a plane, I'm going to be on a spaceship. Instead of desert island albums, it's more like, okay, Mars. I'm going to Mars, and Elon says you can take 5, albums with you. That's all you can bring. Or you're going to get shipwrecked. You're going to be on an island for the rest of your life. What 5 albums are you choosing? So you got to think about, maybe you think about variety. You can't have any live albums because that's cheating. You can't have any greatest hits albums. That's cheating. Double albums are okay. If you slip a couple of those in, I guess that could be a strategy. So we want to kind of hear yours. Like, we would love you guys to post, like, what are yours? This is just completely us being, this is what we think, this is what we would listen to. So do you want to kick it off? Do you want to we'll go back and forth, number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, even though mine are all kind of interchangeable. You want to kick it off, Tone?
Sure. Yeah, that's good. All right, this is a good segue. We'll see if the one album I didn't pick was "The Ghost in the Machine" by The Police, which might have been fitting.
Yeah.
But,
I do have a playlist on Spotify I just had with all Ghost songs. So I'm gonna have to link that one to the podcast.
Oh my God. Well, the good news about this podcast or this episode is, we don't really need to go into any order. I mean, you're bringing your 5.
Yeah.
So the first one for me might be a no-brainer, but it's Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti, which is a double album. I didn't, if I need to cut back, I can do that. I didn't know that I knew live album wasn't going to be accepted, but double album, well, too bad. I'm taking it. It's the same size, so I'm taking it.
I love it, dude. So it's so funny. I've done this list before, and the kind of the number 5 album changes sometimes for me. I probably listen to like Led Zeppelin 2 more than any other album. And Led Zeppelin 4 obviously is freaking, it might be the greatest album of all time. And I almost brought Led Zeppelin 4 just because, but I kind of played it out as a kid, frankly, like, you know what I mean? But Black Dog and Rock and Roll aren't as awesome to me anymore as like some of their mellow stuff. So I too chose Physical Graffiti. That is I took Physical Graffiti, brother. Got right on my screen. Custard Pie, The Rover, In My Time of Time. I mean, you get double bag, but it's just a great freaking album. It might be their best.
Yeah, I mean, it was Led Zeppelin at their best, I think, when you could argue, like I saw the movie in the theater just last month, maybe a few weeks ago. And, seeing Zeppelin in the movie theater, whole nother experience. But watching them, and they only go through the first 2 albums, so there's going to be more. They're very, very methodical about going through all of their history and how they got together. Yeah, but they only get to the second album, and it's like a 2+ hour movie. So, highly recommend it. A, B, they're Zeppelin 1 and 2. Very different than Zeppelin 4, which is very different than Physical. And the reason I picked Physical, although Zeppelin 1 to me is really kind of like, the raw, just the Bonham in Good Times, Bad Times, the drumming, the guitars, the singing, like Plant's. I think Plant is probably at his best in Zeppelin 1, but he's more mature in the whole, way in which that they produce albums is a lot more, well done, I guess, with regards to Physical Graffiti. I mean, you've got Kashmir, of course, but like Custard Pie, and then even Black Country Woman, Night Flight, just going off the top of my head. What's Boogie with Stu, which is such a random kind of old
There's a nice mix on
blues.
There's a nice mix.
Huge mix. And
Ronnie Orr.
Ronnie Orr's on there. Like so you do, to your point, you get the mellow, but then you get the hard hitters like the Wanton song or Wanton song. I don't know how you pronounce it. One of my all-time favorite songs, let alone
song.
Not Now. Speaking of pledging, that's don't even get me going. And then you've got the crowd pleasers, Kashmir, In My Time of Dying. One of the In My Time of Dying, I could argue is as good as Stairway to Heaven, in my opinion. It's got it's got kind of everything. But anyway, so I could go on and on about Zeppelin, but
it's a great one.
So that's great.
We both got it. That's
Good.
like 3 in a row that we had together, because we had Running Backs 1, 2, and now we've got Physical Graffiti on our ship. We should have planned this together. I'm going to say we don't have any more that are the same, but we'll see.
All right, go ahead. You go.
I go? Okay. So this one has been, since it came out in 1978, this has been, I can't play it out. I try to play it out as a kid. I love it. It's got a little bit of everything too. It's got some country, it's got blues, it's got rock and roll, it's got disco. It's probably, one of the top 5 bands in the history of rock and roll, the Rolling Stones, Some Girls.
Oh my God.
Go all night. I mean, Miss You.
Bro.
When the whip comes out. Don't tell me.
Yes. That was right.
I love it.
I can't believe it.
Really?
I can't believe it. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I mean,
Ooh,
it's just, maybe it's 78. What year did
That's
Physical
unbelievable. 77.
77.
77, because 75 was House of the Holy.
So we were just like, for me, when Physical Graffiti came out, I didn't even get it. I probably got it in 78 or 79. But I was listening to it on like Friends, Brothers, and you knew it, but I didn't really dive into it yet. When this album came out, I went out and bought it. I was really like discovering. So we grew up to this, like we were in our 12, 13 years old, probably.
Right.
So it makes some sense that we both, have it on there.
Can't believe it.
But it's such a great album. It's just a fun album too. So it's an album like I can't get tired of it. I don't know. Miss You is one of my like
Miss You.
songs. I mean, I just walk in Central Park. I mean, I love that. It's just so much fun.
Miss You. One of my favorite songs. I literally had to pull it up just so everyone knows. But When the Whip Comes Down.
What comes down?
One of my, and Respectable are like my favorite.
Respectable.
Song.
Beast of Burden. Shattered. Shattered is a New York City
Right.
anthem. It's a great freaking album.
Right.
Lies, Faraway Eyes.
Before they make me cry.
I ran 20 red lights in his honor. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
I mean, it's a fun album. You can't get bored with it. So
No.
Some Girls. Wow.
Unbelievable.
All right.
Two.
We're on different desert islands, so we fucked up big time. All right, what do you got next?
Well, if we were together, we'd be able to bring more.
There's one other one we could have the same. But I'm thinking you might have this band, but not the song.
All right.
76. Any albums from around 76?
Was it 76? Could be
on your list. Maybe?
I know. I actually don't know the year it came out.
All right.
Go ahead. You go to do the next one.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
All right. Next, I'm gonna do this one just in case you have it too, because this is the only other one I think we both have.
All right.
The other two I'm kind of like out there a little bit, not out there, but came out in '76. This one, in all actuality, this album was huge for me because my first album was the Partridge Family. My grandmother gave it to me
Oh
for
my God.
Christmas in like '73 or '72, whenever it came out. And there was some good stuff on there, da 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 da, and all that stuff. But but around 75, 76, I discovered Kiss, and
Okay.
that I was listening to rock on the radio, rock and roll on the radio, and listening to pop on the radio, but like the first band that I got into where I went and bought an album was Kiss. And then I had this buddy Edgar. I went over his house, and his brother had Aerosmith records.
Oh no, Rocks, unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I got Rocks.
That's unbelievable. So this has been Rocks and Misuse been always on my list forever. So
yeah, me too.
I went to my buddy's house. I love Aerosmith. I mean, you and me were huge. I fucking love Aerosmith.
Right.
But this was the album that my buddy's brother had, and he played it for me. I had never heard of Aerosmith. I didn't know any of their music. I probably maybe heard Dream on the radio, but I didn't know who they were. And this guy, and I was just like, the album blew me away. It was the first record I got that wasn't Kiss. I went out and bought it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like a perfect record. I feel like there's some of like the beginning. There's like the heavy metal existed obviously with like Sabbath or whoever was doing it, Ozzy, but they kind of that heavy metal that it became where it was a little bit more mainstream with what was that? Sick as a Dog? No, Nobody's Fault.
Nobody's Fault.
Yeah, I mean that's just real heavy. Home Tonight, Mellow, Back in the Saddle, Rats in the Cellar, Last Child. I mean, the Sick as a Dog. Every song. There's not a 10-second spot on the record where you slow down. Every note is perfect.
Oh my God! I mean, like
I can't
Aerosmith's
believe
one.
we're 3 for 3.
3 for 3. But yeah, for anybody who's calling bullshit, I don't think it's too far-fetched to know, we're friends and grew up in the same time period and whatnot and have the same very similar musical tastes until it gets to the Dead and all that stuff. But in all honesty, I would have picked Live Bootleg if we were to, because of the Aerosmith albums, that just captures them at their rawest. I mean, most of that stuff's like 77, 78, like when they were, in the drug heyday and when they were about to break up. But just the raw, live, they were such a great live band, certainly I think that they're it's rare, I think, but probably a better live band, especially in the 70s versus today or before, they had to retire. But I think that, Live Bootleg captures them at their rawest. With rock, so the next follow-up or the runner-up for me is Rocks, because what that first album just is them recording in practicing in an apartment. You could tell that they're just like kids, just getting together. Whitford was new to the band. And they're doing a bunch of covers and stuff. And then Get Your Wings and Rocks to me were really, really close. Toys in the Attic, I think this is a great example of where I think they're better live than in the studio, because although Toys in the Attic and Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion, they're all great, great songs. I just think that they come across better live. Whereas with Rocks, I think they really found their way as far as the studio is concerned. And you talk about Rats in the Cellar, Back in the Saddle. I'm not Rats in the Cellar, Back in the Saddle.
That's a solid.
Sweet Home.
They're both.
I almost said Sweet Home Alabama. Sick as a Dog. Is Home Sweet Home on that? Yeah, Home
Tonight.
No,
Yeah,
Home Tonight. Home Tonight.
That's such a sweet song.
I love that song.
And that also, again, that's like every heavy metal band would have their, Nobody's Fault and then their Home Tonight. You have to have that rock power ballad.
The ballad at the end, yeah,
You know?
yeah. And Nobody's Fault was like
Powerhouse.
just so yeah, so like so heavy for them, and you wonder what was going on and why they wrote that. But yeah, my mind's spinning a little bit that we're so in sync, but at the same time, I think.
And it's funny too that you said, like, I agree. Like, a lot of people love Toys. Get Your Wings is really close to me to Rocks in terms of greatness. Like, I think Get Your Wings, I could interchange it almost with Rocks. I prefer Rocks, but Get Your Wings is a super, super tight album too. And I love every track on it. And I put it right up there. Sweet Emotion might be one of the best songs ever written of
Right.
Toys, but Rocks and Get Your Wings for me, I'd almost bring both of them, but
Yeah,
yeah, so Rocks.
unreal. That's awesome.
I think that's going to be, so it's going to be interesting to see what your top two are. You're not necessarily your top two, but your other two are, wait, how many do we, yeah, I got two
It's
more.
3. Yeah, 2 more. So I'll go next.
Go ahead.
I certainly know you don't have this one, but this is, so I had to have something from the 90s. There's so many bands in the 90s that just changed, just like in the 70s, right? Like, we were fortunate enough to be at least old enough to be around in the 70s with the Zeppelins and the Aerosmiths and the Stones and all those bands. I mean, Rumors, which didn't make my list. I don't know if it made yours, but just end to end, phenomenal album. Steve Miller, Chicago, like all these bands. We were fortunate. I think the same thing happened in the 90s. And you've got your Pearl Jams, you got your Nirvanas, you got Soundgarden, you've got all these bands that are just like really changing the way in which music is being appreciated or being listened to. But the band for me, and it really still is the Smashing Pumpkins and their first album, Gish. One of the all-time best albums I've ever heard, front to back, power. Like, there's not I don't think there was a song that charted on that album. But you just listen to not only the quality of the recording, it just feels like it's all live. But like, there's a song like I Am One and Siva and Tristessa and all these different songs that really, and this is, I believe it's right before Nevermind came out. And I think that's probably, I don't know, Nevermind is a little bit more commercial for me. Fantastic album, absolutely fantastic, and one that would make a list of 10, that's for sure. But so I think the Pumpkins got a little bit, kind of the short end of the stick, because it was released in 91, and it was just kind of right before, Pearl Jam and Nirvana and all those other bands that put together albums that we all know and love. But I highly recommend anyone who's not familiar with the Pumpkins, early Pumpkins. Gish is by far one of the best albums I think was ever released.
I'm gonna put it on tonight. I've got some Smashing Pumpkins. I don't have Gish. I probably have come across some of the songs, maybe, but maybe not. I mean, it's possible. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna check it out. I mean, yeah, I think I just saw something on the internet, probably on like Facebook or something. Right after that album came out, like within 44 days. That they didn't mention this album, but if it was right before those, in a 44-day period, you had Appetite for Destruction, which I almost took as my album instead of Physical Graffiti. So Appetite, Metallica's big album came out, their chart-busting album.
Black.
Chili Peppers' chart-busting album. You just met Nirvana's chart-busting album. Who was the other one? Oh, Pearl Jam's chart-busting album.
Right.
And there might have been one other one in 44 days.
Right.
Those are like legendary albums.
Right.
So Gish just got gished.
Swept under the rug. Yeah.
Like,
I know. And I don't call that out because don't pick it because I feel bad or something. It's just when I hear that album, when I think of, all I can have of these five, it's gotta be, it just has to be in my play, in my
I thought you were gonna go Phil Safe on me. Which, by the way, my daughter, like you mentioned rumors, my daughter would definitely bring rumors. Her and her boyfriend have seen Phil Safe. He's a Jersey guy. They've gone to see him. They've seen him I think they've seen him in LA maybe, but if not, they saw him in Jersey. So they've seen him. So
Really?
she's like, I love Phil Safe. I was like, I didn't, he got me on that one.
Wow.
But so
That's
but she's
fantastic.
into it. They got a band. But all right, cool.
Number two.
I don't go into the 90s. I almost did with Guns. I wanted a rocker. I was like, I want to bring a rocker, but I didn't. My Physical Graffiti is my rocker, or Rocks is my rocker, I guess. I'll say my all-time favorite album for last. So this one was 1968. I've talked about this album online, I think with you maybe before. I love this album. I don't know what is about it, and it's perfect for Desert Island because you need something different. It's mellow, it's jazz, it's blues, it's got great words. It fits all different moods, more of a mellow mood. So you kind of, if you're going to be away, you need that. But I throw this album on all the time. It's good if you're getting romantic. Put on some of those tracks, Sweet Thing, Cypress Avenue, The Way Young Lovers Do, Madam George, Ballerina, Slim Slow Slider, Astro Weeks Beside You. It's Van Morrison, Astro Weeks, 1968. Wow. It's a beautifully made album. It's gorgeous. It's roughly recorded in some ways. I feel like if the recording wasn't high tech, like he was in a studio and just, picked up the guitars and pianos and jammed out. But I read somewhere like they went and got a bunch of jazz musicians and blues. It's a very jazzy album. I just love it. I think it's it's close to a perfect album. And so if you're not familiar with it, I'm sure you heard a lot of those songs. Check it out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You got me surprised on that one. Although you can't be too surprised. Van Morrison is, legend, right?
He's legendary. Seen him in concert where I was like, what was that? but I've seen him on videos where he's great concerts. So he's another one of these guys where, sometimes you hit it and miss it. You were talking about Aerosmith. I think I kind of gave them a little backhanded compliment in the guitarist one because they were known to be inconsistent, but like you were saying, they could be amazing live, and
Right. Yeah,
Van Morrison, Astro Week, 68.
That's a good one. I
was 2 when it came out.
That's as old as it gets for us folks. Because I didn't go back that far.
My number one is pretty close to it too in years. But
oh, that's crazy. Well, I'm gonna save you because Appetite's my number one.
Nice.
Actually, it's not my number one. It's one of the five. But again, like when I was thinking about this, I went through each decade and, top albums, right? And shame on us. Maybe we should put Thriller on there or, Abbey Road, which really, really close, or the White Album, but if I'm thinking about the albums that changed time, I don't want to say a generation, but like have really made an impact in time, you can think about basically all the Beatle great albums, right? You could argue, Are We Experienced, Certainly the Stones could be in there, Zeppelin. They're in the 90s, Nirvana, the album that sold the most, the Metallica album. But like at the time, and I believe it was 88, 89, Appetite for
Sounds
Destruction.
right. Yeah, we were still in college, so 88.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to put an album on and just go front to back, like there's nothing meager on it, and they're notorious for being on drugs and drinking all the time and all that stuff. But when it came to Showtime or not really showtime, but when it came to work time, you know, when they recorded this album, it is close to perfect. I mean, you might argue that the content is questionable. You know, you talk about drinking and drugs and heroin and all this other stuff.
Brownstone.
And Mr. Brownstone and degrading women. You know, so I'm not going the Van Morrison route by saying that, you know, the lyrics are beautiful and melodical. But for a rocking album, I know that I could put on almost any time, and it doesn't have to be loud, or it can be loud, obviously. Appetite for Destruction is just a game changer for me.
Yeah, it's a great album, man. It's a great choice. Like I said, I almost took it. They didn't put out even Use Your Illusions 1 and 2 are fucking great albums. And
Yeah, they're great.
It's like that's really their body of work right there. They had a couple other like bullshit albums, but
Right.
those, and it's unreal how the quality of every song. And that first album, there was just anthems, Sweet Child of Mine. Yeah,
Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle, man. You know who you are. I did that to Marshawn Lynch. You're the jungle.
That's right. That's
You're
right.
gonna die. I think he recorded his girlfriend having sex, and that's on the album.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
just it's raw, man. It's a raw. You can tell that they're just kids on the street. That I think they know they're gonna be great, so they're cocky. They're probably doing a lot of drugs. You know, I saw them at the Garden. It was probably the Use Your Illusions tour. You know, you didn't come on till like 10:30 at night. You know, I get up at 4:30 for work. I'm like, what the fuck, this guy, man. But
Right.
man, it was worth it. It was worth it. But that's a
Yeah.
great choice, man. I love that album. Again, it's a shame, right? It's like 4 years, 5 years.
Which is also a testament to, you know, they're as far as musical careers are concerned, they're a lightning in a bottle. That album is lightning in a fucking bottle, man.
Yes.
And we all know that Slash is a great guitarist, but you know, he's cleaned his act up or whatever, and really gone on to do a lot of great things with Velvet Revolver, and you know, the Snake Pit now that he's doing, and all that stuff. But that like you said, it's literally like catching lightning in a bottle for that one period of time, and it changed everything. You know, Metallica, like, it wasn't metal, but it was really, really hard rock.
They went back. They went heavy. They were hard rock. They reached back to the blues, which the heavy metal bands were the hair bands were kind of losing, and it brought music back to center. And Izzy Stradlin too, man. He was like, I'm a huge Stradlin fan, and they do remind me of the Stones in a way. Like what the Stones would be like if they came out in the 90s, like Stradlin, and you know, they got that attitude, and you know, but you've got, you know, like everyone knows Slash, but like Stradlin could play, he could write, he could sing. You know, just a great album, great band. They're one of my favorites. That's a good one. That's a great one.
Yeah.
All right, brother. So you did all 5 years, right?
Yeah, that's it, man.
All right, I got one left. It's the greatest album of all time. No. It's my favorite album of all time. You know, in a way, it is cheating. It's not cheating, but I guess there's two versions of the album. There's a one record version. There's a 2 record version. They put longer versions of the songs. They stick a couple, but the original album when it came out in '72, which is probably my favorite band, the Allman Brothers, Eat a Peach. They had like a couple live songs. So I said no live, but it wasn't like it was a song that was on a previous album. You know, it wasn't a greatest hits thing. So Ain't Wasting Time No More, which is one of my favorite songs. It's just a cool song that just says it all. Lost Brace in A minor, Sweet Melissa, Mountain Jam, which is, I had a Mountain Jam license for 10 years. Just a great, you know, they have a 20-minute version of Mountain Jam on the album, but the original, like Fillmore East, it was from Fillmore East. It was like 45 minutes. One Way Out, Trouble No More, Stand Back, Blue Sky, which, you know, maybe my favorite song, Little Martha. It's just a great, great album. And that was Dwayne's last album.
Yeah.
It's got chill, it's got blues, it's got some rockin'. It's to me, it's a perfect album.
Yeah.
Eat a Peach, Allman Brothers band. And
that's awesome.
is our top 5 desert island albums, which
That's
took a
right.
big backseat to the Ghosts and Zoso. By the way, like, so I don't know what Zeppelin, Zoso.
Well, I was just gonna say that's Jimmy Page's sign.
Oh, so that's
And-
Page. It's not them.
That's Page. No, it's Page.
That's
They each
Page.
have their own. And I don't know if you know, and I'm sure it's public knowledge, but Page bought Aleister Crowley's house, who was known for demonic possession or devil worship and all this other stuff.
That's
And he lived in his house.
That's freaky though, because we've been like talking about Zeppelin a lot, and so supposedly this demon that comes through the Ouija board. This could just be, again, it could be the urban legend thing, but if you go on YouTube and put in Ouija board Zoso, there's like thousands of videos because supposedly that's the demon that comes through it. Now, I'm going to call a little bit of bullshit on that because I feel like if you're opening up channels to that side, it's not like, hey, I got the Ouija, you know what I mean? Like, if you're really opening up channels, I think it depends on what you're open to, and it's probably one of those urban legend things, but
Right.
still, it's kind of interesting when I saw that. I just saw that like last night. So I was a little freaked out.
Stop saying it.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're not supposed to say these things. All right, I'm going to go say, my wife put holy water on me this morning. I was like, yes, thank you. Yeah. All right, man. So this is some good content, man. I'm going to try and get this thing out by Monday. And
One more time.
I am so freaked out right now. Editing the video for Urban Legends, doing the part about the Ouija board in the basement, talking about the scene in The Exorcist. There's Christian with the shit, and it's like, this is the movie of all time. Like a lot of these.
Bro. You're like, what the?
that's crazy.
You're like, you're like, what was that?
we got to.
Sorry to laugh.
No, I was freaked out last. Now it's almost become like a joke. We have to figure out what our next. If you have any, suggestions, faithful listeners, what we're gonna do next. We've been doing this for an hour. I can't believe it.
I know.
Give us some ideas. We're looking for some
Please.
ideas. Do you want us to stick to this like occult stuff, or you want us to come back with quarterbacks or music or movies? We just did music, so movies, TV, sports, or do you want more of this type content?
More of that type of stuff.
All right, brother.
Please like and subscribe. Please, it helps us out. I know everybody says that, but it really does make a difference, and we appreciate it. And we appreciate
We
everyone
don't do enough of
listening.
that. Hit the like, hit the tip
Yeah.
jar. If you really want to help, hit the tip jar.
Right, have a cup of coffee.
We put that tip jar in there. I
I'll
don't
go
think
for the
anyone
coffee.
looks. When you go on YouTube, like, do you look in the description of the video? No, you just
No.
like watch the video. So
Right,
we're never gonna get a tip,
right.
but you never know. All right, brother.
All right, man.
Have a great
See you,
weekend.
guy.
Go to
Have
church.
a great weekend.
We'll see you later.
You're an animal.
Peace.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.